Good morning. This is Jason Dean coming live at you again for another Film Fanatic show. Hope everyone is having a good weekend. It's been a pretty fun weekend so far for me. I've said many times before in previous videos that my, two favorite things to do is to go to the movies and also go see live music. And I haven't been to the movies in a while. The last movie I saw was Godzilla Minus One, which was for me this year easily by far head and shoulders above every other movie I've seen in the theater. It was for 2023 the best movie of the year as far as I'm concerned. But I did a big show on Godzilla Minus One after I saw it. But it's been a while since I've been to the movies. It's been about at least a month or two. So things are very different. There are actually a slew of movies that are coming out. Quite a few movies coming out this year. A few that I was totally unaware of. So there's a few movies I'm very very excited about coming out. So we will see. I'm looking forward to going to the theater again. But in the time being, I've been going to see lots of live music. So I saw some good bands this weekend at this really awesome new venue called Hey Sailor, which is in Searsport, which is only about 10 or 15 minutes from my house. So it's a super quick drive. It's a straight shot, and I have a show there tonight. It's just a really fun place. So if you're in the area in Mid-Coast, Maine, definitely check it out. I think it's, for my money, I think it's the best music venue really around right now, and especially here in Mid-Coast. It's just really great. So this this big show is a continuation of my first time. Well, not my first time, but I kind of consider I started from scratch, and that is the Game of Thrones series. I finished up season one. I did a big show on that, and I think I put it up on the channel. I think it was yesterday or the day before. So check that out if you get a chance. The the other thing that's been really cool, a lot of people have been commenting on the videos lately. I and I love that. For good or bad, I love interacting with people who are really into films and all of these crazy things that I'm really into. So really appreciate that. First time, I had a first time experience, but yesterday morning I spent about, which usually doesn't happen. There's comments here and there, and then I cover them or get back to that person or persons when they've left comments on some of these videos, and I do it. They come in pretty often, pretty frequently. But yesterday was the exception. I spent about 2 hours responding to all of these comments, and the movie that I had posted, the whole thing that was centered on was Ridley Scott's Prometheus. So I was really excited and really surprised. But apparently that movie is, well, I guess you could say is pretty polarizing. People have some strong feelings about it, including myself. So I really, love that. That is the best, one of the best parts of doing this show. I love it. So keep the comments coming. But again, that was the first time for me since I've had this channel, to where I was actually spending quite a bit of time responding to all of these comments. So very very cool. I love that. And a lot of the cool things. One of the cool things about the comment section, which has been a thing that's happened quite a bit, is people will make, if you like this movie or you like that movie or you like this director, they'll make some cool recommendations, and that's really nice. And then I have come across a few films and even directors through that interaction that I've never heard of, or movies I've never seen before. So that's really really cool. So today's show is on Game of Thrones season 2, and I am super uber late to the game with this series. When it came out, I do believe I saw the pilot, and I really liked it. And I think that was all I saw. I really liked it, and I never really followed up through with watching it. And then quite a few years later, I got in the habit. I did sit down and I did watch the. I think I had made it to the third season or so, And then for whatever reason, I got pulled in this direction or distracted or something, and then I didn't end up finishing it. So I had been sitting on the back burner for a while, and in this winter, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna hunker down. It's a good time of year to do that, and I'm gonna hunker down and actually sit down and watch this series. So that's what I've been doing, and it's been pretty awesome. I've been really enjoying this whole show tremendously. And, as good, my first impression, as good as the first season is, and I'm going into it cold in regards to a lot of people I've talked to about this series, they have read the books. I haven't read any of the books. I think I would. I think that would be really cool to do at some point. But most people I've talked to have read the books to some degree. So, and have said that they feel, for the most part, that the TV show, the series, is actually better than the books. So, that sometimes is a rare thing when it happens, but a lot of the times, I don't know, like, I think like the Lord of the Rings series written by Tolkien, I think that is an example of that, where as great, classic literature. But I think the filmmakers, like with Peter Jackson, with what he did, especially well with the third ones, not the last three that came out, but the first three, I thought he did such a brilliant job with like cutting some of the excess, cutting some of the fat, if you will, from the novel, and kind of made it a little bit more focused. And I kind of agree with with that kind of that way of trying to cultivate it a little bit more for the big screen. It's tough. It's pretty rare when it is really really successful, uh, but judging from what people have told me, it might be kind of the same thing as far as what you take the source material and then you want to adapt it to more or less the big screen, and how do you balance that and kind of transmit that accurately to where it is enjoyable. So, but as much as I love the first season, I kind of have to say at face value, my first experience watching it, really, really, really for the first time, even though I have seen it, it's all new to me. Really, it does bits and pieces of the story that I do remember, certain characters that I do remember, but it's been a long time. But for all intents and purposes, it is first time viewing, and I have to say I season two I think is amazing. I think it kicks ass. I think it is the stakes are higher. There's more of a fantasy or magic element, and it has more of the kind of the nonfiction fantasy, or I should say, has it pulls in more of the fictional fantasy aspects of the story that I really love. Really great. And again, as good as the first season is, I kind of feel like the second season is better, because I feel overall the stakes are higher. Second season of the fantasy drama, um, Game of Thrones, which came out in 2012. Um, this season mostly covers the events of Clash of Kings, which was the second novel of the of Song of Fire of Song of Fire and Ice series by, of course, the writer of this great series, George R. R. Martin. And again, I have to say, the story takes place again. I think this series, this second season is better. The story takes place in a fantasy world, primarily in a fictional continent called Westeros, with the storyline occurring on another continent to the east, SOS. Like the novel, the season follows the aftermath of Edward Stark's dramatic death. and again, the stakes are raised. There are battle scenes in this film that are just or in the show. I do kind of consider it a film that are just pretty that are simply breathtaking. I am really really impressed. Would really love to see this series on Blu-ray at some point. I I don't own. I only own. I own actually the first season of Game of Thrones on DVD. I got it. I got it last year, and so I was gonna sit down and actually watch it, and then obviously things happened. I didn't actually do it, but right now, so what I'm doing now, since I'm watching this series, is I'm watching it. I'm renting all of the series through Opera House Video here in Belfast, and that is a great resource. They have an amazing. I mean, not only do I love that shop, of course, and I've talked a lot about them, but they have a really amazing selection. If you like television shows, they have so many. So they have the whole series. So I've been going there and renting them, and I just picked up. I'm going to be starting. I actually just started last night, season 3. So very very excited. I'm very excited to see the dragons grow. And again, the stakes are higher. There's more of a higher level of intensity around the story. The one thing I did hear, I've heard lots of mixed things, but later on in the season or in the series, and I believe there's 8 or 9 seasons. I could be wrong. I heard that the second to half season, like 7 or maybe 6 or 7, were not very good. And then I've also heard that quite a few people say that they were pretty disappointed with the finale. And but I'm trying to. I don't know anything about it. I'm trying to stay completely away from anything related to that. I want to see everything for myself and have that experience, whether it's great or not so great. Um, and it's funny. I had a friend because I've been posting about Game of Thrones lately on Facebook on my personal page, but then obviously on my Film Fanatic page, and I've been doing the coverage of these videos, and I've been talking about it online. So I had a friend message me last night saying, as much as he loves the show, that he was really disappointed with the last act of this series. So, and I really, really trust his opinion. So I'm trying not to. I'm hoping that's not the case, but we'll see. But I am totally enjoying the ride. I'm a huge, I'm a huge uh, fan of this kind of genre, and I feel like what this whole genre is, it's very unique. I think I definitely think that what George R. R. Martin created with his original source material, the series of books, was really unique because it's interesting because it is a fantasy driven story. It's kind of set in these alternate universes, but it is very grounded. And obviously, I love fantasy, I love horror, and I love battle films where they are, epic in scope. And I love that this series has more or less, now it's kind of a little bit more on the table, and it's kind of a part of the regular series, and it's not to a degree hidden away. But I love that the fantasy element. I love how they have kind of introduced and hinted at these subtle kind of elements throughout the story of monsters and dragons and demons and spirits and the use of like real magic and sorcery. I love that whole thing is zombies. I love that that those elements have been slowly kind of been they're being brought into the story. I think that's really cool. I think it's you know George Martin did just an amazing job with the storyline, the way the narrative is, because I feel that's the other thing about this series so far, and especially season 2, is that immediately there's so many characters in this series. You're introduced virtually every episode, especially season 2, I would say so far. Virtually every episode you're introduced to a new character or characters. And I find myself as a viewer, I automatically care about everyone and everything that I'm seeing on the screen. I automatically am kind of behind everyone's storyline. I care about what is going to happen. I care about where that character fits in this big puzzle, and also if they remain alive or dead, because Game of Thrones was known for basically this way of killing off characters that you would not expect, and you kind of never you're it's kind of shocking, and you don't see it coming. And I think it's really pretty magnificent with how the story has developed, where there are key characters and people in the story, and along with the plot development, that do perish a timely, gruesome death, and you don't really see it coming. And it doesn't have this like carrot, like, I don't know, this generic, or it doesn't play it safe. I feel like every character that you see has all of these different shades. They all have, to some degree, some kind of dark past or some kind of dark secret, or and they've also, to a degree, maybe have can show compassion and love, or have a you know good things that they've done for themselves or for their family, or for their kingdom. But it's they're all very gray, and I love that. They're all very complex. All the characters are really complicated. And I love that they pull at your, all the characterizations just pull at your emotions, because they're complex, and they have light and dark in each one of them. And I feel like, as a viewer, that's so exciting. And I think, like I said, I think, even though it's a fantasy show, it has a sense of, it's really grounded. It is really gritty. It's very brutal. It's super violent. The cast is brilliant. Gwendoline Christie is just astounding. She's probably my favorite character right now in the whole series. She plays the Brenna of Tarth, who is a knight. She is amazing. She's so badass. She has this. She's incredibly stoic. She is filled with passion. There is a lot of humor around her character. The other thing too with this show is that there is a lot of humor. I've been discovering that and feeling that more and more with the second season. Um, it's just particularly around Jamie Lannister's character, played by Nikolai Coster-Waldau, and Gwendolene's and by Gwendoline Christie's character, the Brenner of Tarth. The chemistry that they have together is just so amazing. And again, the whole cast is just incredible. Alfie Allen plays Theron Greyjoy. Carice Van Houten. Ian Glenn is just fabulous in this show. Uh, Emilia Clarke, Sophia Turner, Malaise Williams, Kit Harrington, Jon Snow, of course. It's just so damn good. It's just so damn good. I'm totally digging it. I just started the second season. Finished. I mean, sorry, I just started the third season last night. So I'm on the second disc, and I'm loving it, loving it. But so far, season two is, I think, even better, and just great. And you know, as late, I realize how incredibly late to the game I am with this series. But damn, totally worth it, totally worth it. And I don't know. It's funny. I have complained a lot about, or not complained, but I should say I have talked a lot about the reasons. Like on one hand, I acknowledge that there's so many great television shows and series, but at the same time, I'm always also talking about where it seems to for me to sit down and watch all of these shows. It's like a little bit too daunting or kind of intimidating because they're just so lengthy. And that's why I love movies so much, because it's like you have that experience for that hour and a half, 2 hours, and there's there isn't there's a beginning, middle, and end. There's closure, and unless you're watching a franchise or whatever, but it's just not the as lengthy of an experience. And so that's been always the thing that I've always said about what keeps me sometimes from kind of embracing those the art of the TV show. But I don't know. I think I might. This might change my tune. So thanks again. Keep the comments coming. And I'm probably in the minority where years later I'm finally sitting down and watch Game of Thrones. But if you haven't seen it, it's pretty fantastic. Like high level writing, brilliant direction, beautiful cinematography, amazing gratuitous sex and violence. It's everything you want. So thanks again, and we will see you next time. Peace.